All right, welcome back to the Compadre System. I'm Jake Berry with my sidekick Clay Williams or Carlos, or no, what would Clay be in Spanish? I don't even know what Clay would be in Spanish.
I
Clay.
don't know. I don't
All
know.
right.
Clay Guillermo. Clay
Yeah.
Guillermo. That's me. That's
Okay.
me.
But yeah, we're back with a special Thursday edition. We came on yesterday. We're going to be back today. Clay, some big things have happened today.
Yeah. Hold on one second. Let me post all this stuff to all the pages that I've got,
Oh
including
yeah.
Clay Williams RGV on Facebook and on the Compadre System,
Yeah.
which has its own Facebook page as well. And done and done and done. And now the big news. Jaime Infante out at Port Isabel after only 1 year. It wasn't a good year, but it was his first year, and he was a success at Lyford before coming to Port Isabel. It was a bit of a controversy, the fact that Port Isabel got rid of Monty Stumbaugh, their longtime head coach who had led them to so many wins and quarterfinals in state and things like that in the first place. But it seemed like the Port Isabel people had gotten tired of Coach Stumbaugh and the way he won. And so they went with another winner and another guy from the Rio Grande Valley. And Jaime Infante is a great coach and covered him. He was at Lyford just as long as Stumbaugh was at PI. But now Lyford is doing well. Infante is out at PI, and Stumbaugh is at Hidalgo, and I don't know what the heck is going on. Jake, let me know. What is going on here? Why would PI get rid of their head coach of high school football, their athletic director, in the second week of May, for gosh sakes?
I had been here. I heard a rumor. I tried to get it verified yesterday. And I just couldn't get it personally verified. Another outlet ran with it. That I don't know if they had actually really gone out and got the research
The
on it.
scoop, sure.
But I got it from some reliable sources. I just didn't want to use it, and it's not my cup of tea anymore, especially. But
Yeah.
he self-reported from what I heard. So for some violations, he reported himself to the DEC, self-reported, and it was a tumultuous year because remember a lot of people at PI didn't like Monty because I don't know, winning
I mean, the
sucks.
whole reason they got Jaime Infante is because they wanted to change up the offense,
Yeah.
right? They didn't like 3 yards in a cloud of dust, which is what they got from Monty Stumbaugh, which won a lot, by the way. And they went with the spread offense and the quarterback and all the receivers looking at their wristbands and going with a no-huddle spread that Jaime Infante had run with great success at Lyford. They wanted a big changeover. And nobody thought it was going to take 1 year, okay? And despite the fact, they went 2-7. That's not a great year at Port Isabel or anywhere. But, everybody knew it was going to take some time. But now, nobody gets that time. Nobody gets that time at all.
Yeah, I had heard yesterday some of the rumors, and I'm going to say they're just rumors. Yesterday was that he was going to have until Friday to kind of make his decision on what he wanted to do. Looks like they kind of made the decision for him.
Yeah.
But look, regardless of the situation, Coach Infante's offense has always seemed to flourish, especially at Lyford. 1 year wasn't going to be enough time at
No.
PI going from what they were, which was a traditional run offense, to a passing offense. But here's the kicker on this: there are a lot of big names around that would have loved that job. And look, Jason Wheeler. That's the first name I'll bring up. He's at LC and Fields with Scott Ford as the defensive coordinator.
Elysian Fields. Come on, man.
Elysian. Sorry, I forgot.
You didn't study English literature?
I'm not from Texas. My parents aren't related. But I don't say what's it called, Buddha? It's Buddha to me, okay? And, stuff like that. But, all right. Anyways, having said that, it would have been a great fit for Wheeler to go back that way. He was there before. Another person that is looking for a job is Tony V. And, for the diehard traditionalists that didn't want Monty there for some reason, they wanted a high-powered offense. You got your high-powered offense in Jaime Infante. You didn't want to let him have time to really grow it. And look, I realized he did something to But I did hear during the year that they didn't like that situation. The traditionalists there, they wanted the old, you know, the old Tarpon team. Now,
Listen, that makes no sense.
yeah.
You don't hire Jaime Infante if you want to go on in 3 yards in a cloud of
No, and that
off
was
tackle.
yeah, no, but that's they wanted something different than what Monty was doing. They did that.
And they got that.
They got that, and then, but a lot of the traditionalists still wanted Tony V back, and we thought Tony V would be. It was there was a good chance that he might go there or get picked up. Not to say I don't think that's a bad fit. I mean, look, I think what happened was this: they broke up with their longtime boyfriend, P.I. did, and Monty Stumbaugh. They went with this high flying offensive guy and Jaime Infante. The relationship they thought it was going to be didn't take off to the start they thought it was going to. He gave them reasons to let him go, and they let him go.
All right, but I mean, seriously, let's get this straight. This isn't a matter of people who didn't like 2-7, people who didn't like no huddle spread getting together and ganging up and getting rid of Infante at the end of the year. That's not what this is, right? This is
no. He gave them reasons. He gave them reasons.
Coach making a mistake and giving them a reason to get rid of him, because there's no way that this is good for either Jaime Infante or Port Isabel. This is not good for either one. It really isn't. Because now Port Isabel has to try and find a coach, at the 11th hour. This is May, for God's sake,
Yeah.
There are teams that are done with spring football, and you don't have a head football coach, and you are one of the top programs in the Rio Grande Valley. It's obvious that this happened, and it wasn't what either party wanted.
No, I don't think so either. But I will say there are some big names that might vie for this job. I will tell you this. I think, and I talked to somebody earlier in the day, Oscar Campos. I talked to him a little bit ago. He's the offensive coordinator at Edinburgh. And I would love to see him at that kind of place, because what he's done at Edinburgh since he came over from Donna, it's pretty amazing. There are a lot of great offensive coordinators out there that could bring them back to what they want. They might have a nice combination of the run and pass. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of good coaches out there, and I think you're looking at the Hannah situation from a couple of years ago.
Right.
Hannah lost their coach, Coach Medrano, in June. So they had to fill that spot pretty quickly. So at least they have a little bit of time. They have a month before school.
Okay, but now we get down to the nitty gritty, because what happens? Because Brownsville Lopez is hiring a coach this week. Now, all of a sudden, everybody who's a finalist for Brownsville Lopez, not traditionally a football school, finds out that just up the road, Port Isabel, who's been to the state quarterfinals, 3 times in the last 20 years, is open. What does this do to the Lopez job? Are there guys who are going to, on tomorrow, who are going to take their name out because they'd rather get the PI job?
I think
Tony V is up for the job at Brownsville Lopez.
What
if he gets it?
I think bird in the hand. What Starkey built over there, he established something. So it's like, any coach that's coming in is not going to have to deal with the situation that's in PI, where this was sudden. Starkey gave fair warning that he was leaving.
So, absolutely. No. It's not a difference.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that now you've got coaches who are finalists for the Lopez job, who now all of a sudden find out that PI is open at the 11th hour. Does this change anything for the finalists that are at Lopez? Do any of them pull out? Do any of them get the job at the school board meeting and then find out that they could be hired and then take off? I think
you'll find that. You'll find out who those people are by the sheer fact that, if PI is interested, they're going to make that call. Hey, you're our favorite for the position. You'll see that. So if they are a favorite, they'll pull their name out. I really think they'll let it ride, because, bird in the hand.
Sure.
I'd rather be a coach for sure someplace than go over to PI and not know if I'm going to have that. But I would like to say, guess what? to Coach Starkey. I never had a chance to say goodbye. So, and Coach Infante, but that's kind of a rude way to do it.
I am happy that Coach Starkey is sticking around and has a great job, and that he's going to be, a guy. If you're going to drink, I'm going to drink. I've got my Red Sox.
Nice.
My Red Sox Yeti here. I'm missing the Red Sox Yankees game, by the way, right now. I'm sure you can tell me a score, but I'm happy that Coach Starkey is sticking around. What he did at Lopez is nothing short of miraculous. I hope they get somebody in there who can finish the job at Lopez and get that team. It's so hard to get a team like that into the playoffs every single year, just from, you don't know who you're going to have year by year. That is the southmost of southmost. But all right, but enough of Lopez. Yes, they're hiring this week. What I want to know is, what about the powers that be at PI? What do they want? Do they still want a Jaime Infante-like high-powered spread offense? Is that what they want? Or do they yearn, do they pine for the 3 yards in a cloud of dust that Monty Stumbaugh used to give them? Which way is that seesaw going to turn?
Well, traditionally you like to give a coach 3 years to build a program. If they don't build after the third year, then you cut ties.
Okay.
This situation kind of screws it up because you went from Monty's offense to Jaime Infante's offense. And then if you go to something back to it, or you go, I don't know. I don't know what the good way to go. Do you go back to the run just because it's a safe way of going, because you can teach that a little bit faster than you can the spread, or do you try to keep going with what Jaime Infante was running? And that's the problem.
That's the question. What do you do? I mean, which way are the people, the powers that be in Port Isabel gonna roll? Did they like the way Monty Stumbaugh run his offense, but just didn't like Monty Stumbaugh? Or did they hate Monty Stumbaugh's offense and brought in Jaime Infante to clean house and start over and get to a high-flying, more entertaining, greatest show on turf style thing? That's another thing. If you want to run a high-flying offense, shouldn't you get, turf on your field instead of grass? But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
I do think that this was kind of and I thought about this earlier when I heard this, is that Wheeler would have been a perfect fit to go back because he knew the program, he knew the kids, he knew the coaches that were there. This is a major situation.
Could he still go back?
Well,
he's still good, right?
I think Scott Ford would be good enough to let him go. I think Scott, you're not going to hold a guy back, especially a friend. But I think a lot of people are going to be vying for this job. If Tony V doesn't get the job at Lopez, I could see him be a front runner for this job. And
absolutely.
There are probably a bunch of, and I don't want to leave out offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators that are vying for their first position, because I'm all for that, and I would love to see that. But I think PI has to decide, do they want to bring a name in again? Or I'm not sure. Do you want to bring in somebody that you can grow with later on? But I think the powers that be in PI are going to go for a big name. That's just me.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. If you've got to make a big splash to make up for this. And the great thing is, for PI's sake, is that there are big names available. Usually in what is today, the 10th of May, usually by the 10th of May, you don't have any big names available, but they happen to. Mm-hmm. So they lucked out. Hey, here's what I want to know. What does this do to Jaime Infante's career?
I don't think this tarnishes it because, come on. We've seen some major violations, before. And those coaches seem to find a place, get retreaded somewhere else.
Really? When was the last time you saw Joe Solis on the sideline?
Yeah, that is true. But
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't really see his name in a lot of apps. I never hear his name coming up in for coaching jobs.
I know. Is there a reason? Now will Jaime Infante's name be?
Yeah.
Persona non grata? I mean, Infante is a great coach who did great things at Lyford. I would hate it if this were to tarnish his reputation so that he didn't get another job. And, obviously, he's a great enough offensive mind to where even if he doesn't get a job this late in the year, somebody ought to hire him as an offensive coordinator, or even a consultant like La Jolla did with Tony V. Mm-hmm. there's got to be room for a great football mind like Jaime Infante somewhere in the Rio Grande Valley. I would hope.
Can I just say this? And I know this is probably going to take some heat on the internet.
There we go.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Okay? Because look, coaches cut corners all the time. A lot of coaches be like, "How could you say that, Jake?" Clay, you were on the scene a long time too. You know that you always hear stuff, you always see stuff. It happens.
It does. It does happen. But guys who get tarnished, who get tarred with this brush, sometimes it takes them a long time to come back from it. It's one thing to do it. It's another thing to self-report. Self-report. It's another thing to get caught, but then it's another thing completely to self-report. I mean, I guess if you self-report, then all of a sudden you look better in the UIL's eyes. And maybe people won't look askance at you for hiring them. But, you know, I feel horrible for the kids at Port Isabel who had only 1 year with a brand new offense and a brand new coach. And I feel horrible for Jaime Infante and hope that he gets another shot at this.
Yeah, I hope so too. I don't want this to be his swan song by any means. And I mean, I've heard worse.
Yeah, I've heard a ton worse, and you know, if what I've heard is true, but and the other thing is, you know, not just a great football coach, a great athletic director as well. You know, all the sports programs at Lyford thrived under him, and from what I've heard, all the sports programs at PI were doing very well as well, and that they liked what he was doing with all of the different programs, not just football. You know, obviously football is it's the lead horse, it's the lead dog in the sled. And 2-7 is nothing you want to see from your lead dog, but you can sometimes see the effects on all the other sports a little quicker when a new guy comes in, and I think they did.
Yeah, well, I hope that he finds something. I would love to see him be, as you said, a consultant somewhere.
Be a consultant, be an offensive coordinator if somebody still needs one. Red Sox beat the Yankees 5-4. Thank you. We salvage one game out of the 3-game series.
I love soccer.
Yeah, I can tell you do. Hey, shall we move on? Hey, how about a little pop culture?
Yes.
What is the biggest video going viral everywhere? Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, Vimeo, whatever.
Ricky Martin sings the blues. I love Ricky Martin singing the blues.
Man, you are so
lame. This is America.
This is America. Donald Glover getting down and letting everybody know what is happening.
He's so childish. He's very childish.
Well, see, and that's the thing, man. He came up with, you know how he got the name Childish Gambino, right?
No, I have no clue.
Okay, so 12 years ago on, I don't know, hell, it could have been MySpace. It was definitely on the internet somewhere. There was a Wu-Tang name generator. You put your name in, and they will come out and tell you what your Wu-Tang. Face Killa, are you Raekwon? What are you when they put your name in? Donald Glover put his name in, and out came Childish Gambino. And he has been stuck with that silly rat name for the last 12 years. God bless him. But what it's done, I mean, 2 years ago, Redbone came out.
I love Redbone.
Yeah. And now this, man. So who's bigger than Donald Glover right now? So he is Lando Calrissian in next month's Solo, or this month's Solo. Oh my God, it's 2 weeks.
Is it out already?
Until Solo comes out. No, it comes out in 2 weeks. Solo comes out in 2 weeks, and Lando Calrissian, the coolest man in the galaxy, is played by Donald Glover. He hosts Saturday Night Live just this past week, where a skit that doesn't make it on, skit, that's kind of like high school, a sketch that doesn't make it on gets released virally and on YouTube and sends these incredible earthquakes through the NBA where the sketch, have you seen the sketch?
No, I haven't. I need to see it.
Okay, you'll need to look.
Oh,
for
The Cavs one.
The Cavs,
Yes,
exactly.
I saw it.
LeBron James scores 40, and everybody else on the team. One guy's like wearing jeans, another guy's like
Yeah.
wearing dress shoes, and what happens? Oh, all of a sudden, all the Cavs, the LeBron heirs, the guys who are supporting LeBron, all of a sudden start to look better, and they start to really try out there because they're getting the heat because everybody's telling them, did you see what Donald Glover said about you on Saturday Night Live? Okay, so he's got that going. So he's affecting the NBA. He's affecting movies. He's obviously affecting the entire hip-hop scene with This Is America, which is one of the most incredible videos I've ever seen.
I'm going to sound like a buzzkill right now. I like the video. I'm not big on the song.
Okay, I kind of agree. I kind of agree. The video is much more powerful than the song is, but we'll see what else happens on the album. Chances of there being another Redbone on this album are slim to none, right?
I did study some film, and so like I can't say the stuff, and a lot of people have already dissected it, but I think it's brilliant on how the stuff he did in it, and how he didn't overtly throw it out at your face. Some of the stuff he did was just beautiful. People dragging bodies off and, nonchalantly, the guy committing suicide and, people not really fazed by that. I thought it was genius.
And what about the silent part where he goes silent for the exact amount of time that the Florida shootings happened?
Yeah.
From like 2:40, I can't remember what it was, 2:47 to 3:11. I can't remember whatever that time was now on the video. The exact time that the shootings happened at Parkland, that's the time that he goes silent on his video. It's incredible stuff, and the Jim Crow symbolism, and then of course he's got the finale of one of the most critically acclaimed TV shows of the last 5 years. Atlanta comes out on FX last night. The guy rules. He rules everything. He rules TV. He rules movies. He rules hip hop. He rules video. He rules,
And in the words of Wu-Tang, cash rules everything around me. And, he's making cash all over right now.
Childish Gambino, you the man.
Yeah.
You are the man.
So.
All right. Move back to sports.
Yes, UIL.
UIL has once again put the state title games, football championship games, all of them, 6A down to 6-man, back in Arlington, back in Jerry World. Again, another 2-year set. We just got done with a 2-year set. We got done with a 2-year set before that. The last time the state championship football games weren't at Jerry World was like 2010. I don't know. It's been like 8 out of 9 years. And that was just 1 year because the NFL screwed up the Cowboys schedule. Jerry Jones goes to the NFL and asks them to make sure they do not have a game during the time right before Christmas because he wants those UIL state football title games so badly, and he got them again. Is it fair?
Not really. I don't think so. I'd like to see a rotation. I think for the kids, look, I think when you play in that place, it's too big anyways, especially for high school. You lose that ambiance that you would have at a smaller stadium where you can fill it up and, have that electric atmosphere. I think when you go there, everybody starts watching the big screen instead of watching the field. I would like to prefer to go to somewhere where you can, where they don't really have a good football program like UT or somewhere like that. Like go somewhere like that where they can appreciate good football players on the field.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, Austin. Oh goodness, Tom Herman. Good Lord. So what you're telling me is that Lake Travis and Austin Westlake have better football programs than the Longhorns, right?
Those guys are getting drafted, eventually somewhere, wherever they're going. So
that's funny. All right. Believe it or not, despite the fact that we haven't had state championship football games in Houston for over, I think, 10 years. We haven't had them in San Antonio for 15 years. I have to agree with the UIL here. I am going to go on the side of the UIL because everybody agrees that that's the place they want to go. You ask the coaches, you ask the parents, you ask the fans, they love going to Jerry World. They love going to AT&T Stadium. They love going to Arlington. There's lots of parking, and Jerry wants them to be there, so he puts out the red carpet.
Yeah.
The last time they were at NRG Stadium, it wasn't even NRG Stadium. It was Reliant back then, the Texans Stadium. The Texans acted like, hey, welcome and do your own thing. When Jerry gets the games there, he's like, hey, welcome to the football capital of Texas. And he does it. And, he wants them there. And I think that means something to the coaches, to the players, to their parents, to the fans. I think it means something, even though it's further to go. I know nobody likes driving all the way up to Dallas. God knows there could be an ice storm in the last week of December or next to last week in December. And and you can, and the mothers who love to just go shopping, in Dallas, they can easily go shopping in just as many great places in Houston and San Antonio. But there's something to be said for the fact that Jerry wants them there, that he rolls out the red carpet, that he opens up the stadium for the 6-man teams all the way up. And okay, NRG Stadium is kind of cool, but it's not as cool as AT&T Stadium. And nobody, and I mean nobody, wants to go play football in the Alamo Dome. That godforsaken place is where
I don't like that place.
Valley teams go to die. I saw way too many Valley teams, bring 5,000 people in there, and it still looked like there was, it was scattered all around. The Alamo Dome is a bat cave. I don't ever want to go back there, and I don't think anybody else wants to go back there as well. So Alamo Dome is out until San Antonio gets a big-time, place, unless they want to go old school. Alamo Stadium is the best place to play football in San Antonio. I wouldn't mind seeing some high school football games there. Get out in the elements. Play in the ice and the snow, or at least the cold wind or whatever. Play some games in Alamo Stadium. That place is huge. It's got lots of parking.
It's vintage. It's vintage.
Yeah, you go old school. Why not? But for a place that rolls out the red carpet, it's tough to beat Jerry World, AT&T Stadium in Arlington.
Yeah. So, well, 2 more years, and then we can go somewhere else, hopefully.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe we can.
Yeah. Well,
all right.
Speaking of things that are no longer from before, actually, one of the best skits that I've seen was from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And Brooklyn Nine-Nine is what, Clay? What's happening to them?
Cut.
Yeah.
Canceled. 5th season, last one. The season finale coming up in 10 days is going to be the series finale. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. You like Brooklyn Nine-Nine? I love Brooklyn. My whole family.
I think it's a genius show. I think Andre Braugher. I think he's perfect in that show, especially for a guy that can be really awesomely serious. And play serious roles, to be in that one. They won some awards. I didn't think that they could really win when the show first came out. But the skit, if you haven't seen the skit with Backstreet Boys, where they're doing the.
I don't know if I've seen it.
Oh my God, you gotta Google it. It's a police lineup, and he makes the whole line sing "I Want It That Way." You got to watch it. So if you haven't seen it, you can Google it. It's on Facebook as well, just like us. And so
I love Andy Samberg. I think Andy Samberg is genius. But yes, the true star of Brooklyn Nine-Nine is Andre Braugher. I have loved everything Andre Braugher has done. And the greatest thing, I watched Andre Braugher back in the early 90s. I want to say 92 or 93. The Cowboys were winning, I think, their first Super Bowl of the 90s against the Buffalo Bills. It was on NBC, and everybody stays tuned afterwards because you want to see what the show is right after the Super Bowl, because they always put a big show that they want to put a big push on. That year, the year after the Cowboys won their first Super Bowl, it was Homicide, Life on the Street, written by David Simon, the same guy who wrote The Wire, one of the greatest TV shows of all time. The star of Homicide, Life on the Street, and it was an ensemble cast, and there were a lot of great guys on there, but was Andre Braugher. And Andre Braugher's character was known for what he could get confessions out of guys in the cage. And to see, Brooklyn Nine-Nine put a spin on that with Andre Braugher and Raymond Holt and put him in the cage and try to do that same thing. It was fantastic. It was genius. Andy Samberg is one of the funniest guys in the world. I am going to miss Brooklyn Nine-Nine. My whole family is going to miss Brooklyn. I even let my 10-year-old watch it, even though a lot of it is pretty over his head, a little risque. But my whole family loves Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's one of the only shows I can say that about, and it will be missed. Fox canceled a lot of shows today, a lot of their comedies. New Girl's going away. Last Man on Earth is going away. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, just a ton. We'll see what Fox can come up with. Of course, it doesn't really matter for Fox. They got the NFL, right?
Yeah.
So, you know what? A lot of people are wondering if they're canceling these comedies so that they can make room and make a bid for the WWE. Have you heard that one?
I hate male soap operas. It's just too much.
But that's what some people are saying. The Fox wants to make a bid for the WWE because it makes more sense to promote WWE during NFL games than it does, New Girl.
Yeah.
Oh, what a huge hit. And don't forget, watch New Girl tonight at 8 o'clock. There's not kind of the same audience. But WWE, it makes sense. But anyway, RIP, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. You will be missed. It's definitely not cool. Not at all.
So going back now, we're going to skip back to Valley Sports. Baseball.
Let me turn that. What in the world? Hey. Got it. All right. Baseball. One game tonight. Whoa. Sorry. Tripod fell over. I know that's what they call you. Anyway. One game tonight and an interesting result. Mission Los Fresnos, game one of a 3-game series. And Los Fresnos is the 32-5A champion. 32-6A champion. And they lose to Mission tonight, 13-2 in 5 innings.
How did Mission get so good so quickly?
I have no idea. What is it?
I know they got a stud pitcher. They got a stud pitcher. And because
they got some hitters too.
Yeah. And by the way, if you didn't have the RGV Diamond book magazine at the beginning of the season, it's okay. Next year. But we have a good turnout on that. That
you
magazine.
Don't have any left? You're all out sold out?
I've got some, but they're still waiting because there's some people that didn't pick up.
Message 956 Sports on Facebook if you still want the because it's not just a preview. It's also makes a great remembrance. It's almost like a yearbook.
It's the Bible, baseball Bible.
There you go.
So
the Bible of baseball in the Rio
But
Grande Valley.
Mission has come around. I mean, it used to be just Mission Vets is the one you talked about, and Mission was kind of the afterthought.
Or Sherryland.
Or Sherryland, yeah.
Mission. Yeah.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, Mission comes out of the woodworks this year with one really good ace, and they got a good solid team. But 13-2 versus the district champ. So district. What were they district champ?
Yeah, 32-6A. Yeah. Los Fresnos was the district champ in there, and Mission took him to the woodshed. And it's great to see Mission do well because they've got great history. When it comes to they play their home games at Leo Najo Field, Leonardo Alanese. And, he was one of the great baseball players ever to come out of there. He was born not in the last century, but the century before. And they've got that field that's named after him. And I really wanted Mission High to have a great, baseball team at some point just to honor that name. And now they've got one. And we'll see what they can do. Los Fresnos has got to come back and win 2 straight against Mission, and that's going to be very, very tough. Do you know his name was Leonardo Alanese, but when he played in the major leagues, or at least in the Texas League, they called him Leo Najo because short for Cornejo, because they thought he was fast as a rabbit.
Wow.
So that's why they called him Leo Najo. Leonardo Alanese, fast as a rabbit. Cornejo became Leo Najo. And they play at that field that's named after him. And played for the Chicago White Sox, as a matter of fact. So it's a great history lesson, and it's great to see Mission High do well. We'll see if Los Fresnos, as the 32-6A champion, comes back from being one game down. They've got to win 2 in a row right now.
Yeah. So the other day we talked about Fortnite.
We did.
And,
much to one of my Twitter followers' chagrin.
Yes.
Who
really?
can't stand that we're talking about Fortnite. Yes, he's like, oh my God, everybody talks about Fortnite. Do you guys have to talk about Fortnite?
We're going to talk about it one more time. So
one more time.
All right, who got hurt? Who got hurt? Talk about this.
All right, so David Price has been he was with Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm. That's when he was good.
When he was good. He was with they traded him to Toronto, and as a free agent, he signed with the Boston Red Sox, which is my team. Has been since long before they won a World Series, by the way. Since 1975, the Red Sox have been my team. But David Price has basically really underachieved as a great pitcher with the Red Sox. As a guy you're paying that much money, he definitely hasn't come through. And then he skips his last. He was supposed to start against the Yankees 2 nights ago. I think at the beginning of the series on Tuesday night, he was supposed to start against the Yankees. He got scratched, and all the Yankees fans are like, ha, Price doesn't want to face us, doesn't want to face Stanton and Judge, all this kind of stuff. And then the word comes out today, David Price missed the game with a form of carpal tunnel syndrome, but he will be ready to go on Saturday in the next series. Carpal tunnel syndrome, that's not something that pitchers usually get. You hear lots of stuff about elbows and rotator cuffs, but you don't hear about carpal tunnel syndrome. And then we find out today that the entire Red Sox clubhouse is completely addicted to Fortnite. Last year it was FIFA, but it didn't hurt anybody. But now Fortnite has taken such control of the Red Sox clubhouse that David Price is an addict apparently, and he's been playing so much that he's got carpal tunnel syndrome in his throwing hand.
You know what?
One of the greatest excuses I've ever heard.
It's not the first time. I remember back in the day when Nintendo first came out, I remember a bunch of NBA players got Nintendo thumbs, and that was actually like...
That's right.
Yeah. So,
I remember that.
Because the controllers were a lot harder, too. So, it's not the first time. It won't be the last time. It could be worse. He could have, one of my favorite players, got on a motorcycle and got into an accident, Jason Williams. So, I'd rather probably have them do this than do that. So,
or you could be like Trevor Bauer of the Cleveland Indians and get your hand cut up from a drone.
Yeah. or maybe play with firecrackers, and right before you sign your contract. That was horrible.
Oh, Jason Pierre-Paul, that's nasty. That is nasty. But I thought it was interesting. I couldn't help but wonder if the fact that Thanos was now in Fortnite didn't make David Price play even longer and make him play even harder what ended up with the carpal tunnel syndrome. I couldn't help but wonder if Avengers Infinity War didn't somehow knock one of my top pitchers out of the series with the Yankees.
Yeah, he's turned into dust right now. So, all right. One more topic, and then we're going to talk about a mag real quick on the way out. But what's the last topic?
As long as we were talking about baseball, I just wanted to mention that the number one hitter in the American League and the number one pitcher in the American League are both playing in the Lone Star State. The Astros got to the World Series and won the World Series last year, mostly, with some great pitching. Don't get me wrong. Charlie freaking Morton, obviously, Justin Verlander, obviously, but a lot of great hitting, unbelievable hitting from Correa, Altuve, even Marwin Gonzalez and some of those guys. But the hitting has not been there this year for the Astros, and yet they've still got one of the best records in the major leagues and in the American League, definitely. And a lot of that is because of the guy they traded for and the guy they got, Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole, let's see. Let me get this right. Struck out 16 in a one-hit shutout at the Diamondbacks last week. Okay, so Garrett Cole struck out 16 and one-hit shutout. And then this week, also on the road, in Oakland. So 2 West Coast starts, struck out 9 in a 4-1 win. And right now, Garrett Cole leads the majors with strikeouts with 86 strikeouts already, and it's only May 10th. It's unbelievable. Garrett Cole could be another Cy Young Award winner to go along with former Cy Young Award winners Dallas Keuchel and Justin Verlander. And this might be the greatest pitching staff that the major leagues have ever seen when you talk about what the Astros have put together. It's really incredible.
Wow. That is incredible.
It's amazing. And Verlander will start at Texas tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow's Friday. So Justin Verlander will take on the Rangers as Houston goes up to take on Texas in the, what is that? The battle for the Silver Boot, the Lone Star Series. Yeah, whoever wins the most games between the two teams gets to take home a Silver Boot. I'm sure they're really excited about that.
I think they'd rather have a check.
I think they would too. But hey, but who's Verlander going to face? The hottest batter in the American League. And that's Nomar Mazara, the right fielder, the young right fielder for the Texas Rangers. He just turned 23 last week. And 7 home runs in his last 9 games. 7 home runs in his last 9 games. 7 home runs in the month of May, batting .324 with 12 RBI. Nomar Mazara, that is a name you need to know for the future. That kid is tearing it up in the month of May. I'm excited to see Verlander versus Mazara tomorrow.
Yeah, me too. Not really, but I'm just trying to help you out. Hey, so real quick for the general public, it really hasn't been done this way before down here in the Valley. Usually every year I go and I buy Friday Night Football, which is like the Rivals version, I think, of Texas football, and I get both.
Are they still putting that out? I mean,
I'm not sure.
Matt Stepp was the guy who put that whole thing together, And
yeah.
Now he's with Dave Campbell, so
yeah.
I don't even know.
I didn't buy it last year, but Texas football. But the thing with Texas football is usually there's just little small blurbs about the Valley. So Coach Tony Leal, myself, you, some great people are putting this magazine together, and we've got some really great people that are working on this magazine. But we're going to have about 200 pages of content from Roma to Brownsville. And we're talking stories on people that came before, but mostly this upcoming year. So, you're going to have some great pictures in there, and I'm going to flash that onto the screen right now. There's a picture of Landry Gilpin from Mission Vets. We're going to have player profiles on the key players, but there's 200 pages, so it's not like most magazines where you get like a little bit of content. This is 200 pages of fat content, in-depth, offensive, defensive coordinators, what offense that team runs, what defense that team runs. It's going to be your football Bible, just like we had the baseball Bible for baseball this year with RGB Diamond. It's going to be pretty intense, and we'll be doing pre-orders soon. I think I just locked up a main sponsor for it. So
excellent.
Yeah, so a title sponsor for it. So once that goes through, I'll announce that. But the magazine is it's going to be wonderful, and I'm proud of it because it's positive across the board. Nothing about firings, nothing about no smut, no dirt. It's just positive content about kids and their teams.
That sounds good to me, man. I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm excited to be writing for it. I can't wait to see it because I saw the RGV Diamond magazine and I was extremely impressed with the job that you guys did with that, and Coach Tony Leal did with it as well. And I'm excited to get started on it, and it's going to be great.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it, but we'll have more information on that later on. But another our fourth Compadre show.
Compadre System. Come on, man.
Yeah, sorry about that. But, we'll be back, next week?
Absolutely. Hey, tease, as long as we're talking football, I'm going to unveil my top 5 returning quarterbacks in the Rio Grande Valley. I'm going to do that next time that we come up on the Compadre System next week. What are we going to say? We're going to say Tuesday?
Let's do Tuesday. Tuesday's easiest.
Let's do Tuesday. Tuesday night, I will unveil my top 5 returning quarterbacks in Rio Grande Valley football coming up.
All right. We'll see you next week.
All right, Compadre System. Thanks for watching.